How you doing? This is Lyle Fass with the Organic Wine Journal, and today we are covering real wines for hard times, because we all know these are very difficult times. We're mired in probably the worst recession since World War II, and in New York, we are at the heartbeat of it, the center of it all. It is absolutely terrible here. I lost my job in January, and I need to drink. I really need to drink. There's no question about it. And I need to drink a lot, and I need to drink cheaply. Not a lot as in I need to drink 3 bottles of wine in a sitting, but I like having a glass of wine probably every day. So I bought all these wines pretty much at the same store. One of them was given to me, and let's see what they are. They're all under $25, and hopefully they all will represent tremendous value and exceptional terroir. So let's jump right into it right now. With the first wine, right here for the camera, is a Côte Rouennaise. The producer this is a new one on me, Domaine de Potier. Côte Rouennaise is a little appellation in the Loire Valley, and it's made from Gamay. I bought this wine for one reason. It's $10, and you don't see many $10 wines out there at all, if ever, and especially from France. And let's check it out. Now, you may ask, why such a fancy glass for such a non-fancy wine? For me, this glass right here, this is a sommelier series from Ravenscroft, and I use this glass for every red wine I possibly drink because you get the best aromas out of it, and it makes a small wine like this $10 Côte Rouennaise, which I haven't had yet, but it makes a small wine taste much bigger and much better, and obviously you're going to get huge aromas out of it. So let's see how this wine tastes, and it better be good for $10, but I'm not expecting much. Nose is not terribly offensive, which is a wonderful start right here. So we've got, Gamay made in a traditional way. Usually you're going to get kind of like wet earth, and I get a lot of wet earth. I get a little bit of fruit, a little bit of mineral, but not much of anything else. But it's good, it's aromatic, it's not like I'm drinking, some crazy cru from Beaujolais or anything like that. And Gamay, usually from Loire Valley, tends to be a lot more mineral and less fruity than Gamay from the famous area of Beaujolais. But let's quickly taste it and see what the verdict is. Well, the reason I had a nice pause on my face there is because I don't think there's any fruit in this wine. There might be a little bit of fruit. I'm getting a little bit of cranberry tang on the finish. It's got good texture, it's got good balance, it's got good purity to it, and then it does what every wine I think should do, which is you want another sip, and that is making me salivate, but it's making me salivate because I'm looking for fruit, and there really isn't much fruit there. And what fruit is there is kind of underripe cranberries. That's really the only thing I'm getting out of this wine. But then again, I expect it to open up, I expect it to breathe a little bit more, and I expect it to improve in the glass. I wouldn't be completely disappointed if it was $10, and I like how it's authentic and that, it's something like, we drank something like this from California for $10, it would just be, this effusive fruit bomb, maybe really high in alcohol and really not showing much. The one thing I do appreciate about this wine, it's showing terroir, it has a sense of place, even though it doesn't have as much fruit, it'd probably go well with dinner, whatever dinner may be. Let me see again. Not bad. The fruit's becoming a little bit more into focus. The acidity is really nice. It's getting better. Floral, interesting, it's good. For $10, I'd buy this. I'd serve this at a party, and I wouldn't be, really pissed off if I had some left over. So it's good wine. It's definitely good. For $10, you could do a lot worse, believe me. So, and I'm glad to see that people are selling $10 wine. All right, let's move on to the next wine, which is a personal favorite of mine. It is Catherine and Pierre Breton Bourgogne Franc de Pierre. Yes, I know it's a complete mouthful, but it's really easy to break down. Catherine and Pierre Breton, the producers. Bourgogne is the city in France where it's from, which is in the Loire Valley. And in Bourgogne, you're only allowed to use Cabernet Franc as the grape. So anytime it says Bourgogne on the label, it will always be a Cabernet Franc. And this is Franc de Pierre. It says nothing to do with the wine being from France, even though it says Franc right there, and you add an E, and it could be France. And Franc de Pierre means that these grapes are from vines that were planted on their original rootstock, which is French rootstock. Basically, to sum it all up in around 20 seconds, there was a huge raging pest called phylloxera that killed all the French vineyards, and pretty much most French wine and French grapes or French whatever have you is planted on American rootstock. This is planted on an original French rootstock. So it's kind of like, harkening back to a time when it was all on original rootstock. But Franc-Pied is a very interesting category. It's always a great value, and I find it gives you a little window and preview into what wines tasted like before the phylloxera rage, which is probably, this is kind of like what Bourgogne would taste like in 1850. And for a little fact, they are natural winemakers, and they're organic, they're biodynamic, they use indigenous yeast, and pretty much everything is fermented completely natural. See, this is what I love in a nose of a wine. It brings the funk. There's so many different things going on in this nose. There's dirt, wet earth, which is something I'm gonna, like. So most of these wines hopefully will have the wet earth on it. There's like dark berry fruit to it. I mean, but it's wild and untamed, kind of. I don't know, kind of like you're going into an actual vineyard and you're smelling what's around. It's not kind of refined or anything like that. It's probably not the most technically correct nose, but it definitely provides a lot of interest. And usually Bourgognes are pretty rich on the palate, so let's see if this one is the same thing. Well, for one thing, it's creamy, which is something I notice in all Cabernet Franc-based Franc-Pied wines. But it's juicy, it's ripe, it's got good concentration, it's very, very, very pure. It's really astonishing wine. And I personally think this represents incredible value over a category, Bordeaux, for example, which is, popular Cabernet-based wine, Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, etc. This would be something that would be really, really good for the Bordeaux drinker who doesn't want to spend $50, $60, $70, $80, because it comes close to that in quality. Obviously, it's not going to be the quality that they're used to, I'd say, in a $50, $60, $70 wine, because it's much more untamed and much more natural and much more pure, but it really just represents tremendous value. I'm going to take another sip of this because it's only going to improve and only going to get better. I'm not biased towards Breton, but when I look at a bottle of Breton and I open one up, I kind of know what I'm expecting. I mean, for example, I hated their 03s. I think their 03s were just complete horrible things. But as them being natural winemakers, you kind of you take the good with the bad, and they're not going to, who knows, do whatever tricks in the winery or do anything to make the 03s better than they were. And some people like the 03s. I hate them. I can't stand any type of heat in a wine, and I can't stand any type of kind of jumble or out of balance flavors to it. I definitely feel one with this wine. There's no question about it.